welcome to You're Wrong About Musicals. I'm Esmé.
And I'm Nell.
Today we are going to be doing Dear Evan Hansen, question mark, question mark. We are going to talk about
Evan Hansen, vaguely.
Vaguely. We're going to start talking about Dear Evan Hansen, and then we're probably going to talk about Next Normal, probably going to talk about Be More Chill, probably going to talk about the 2017 Tonys, we're going to do odds and ends, see where we are.
Basically, we have to pre-record next week's episode, which is a kind of big one.
Guys,
so this week has to be very short.
I'm being haunted. I am like Norma Desmond, spoiler out, it says a bit about next week. Norma Desmond's in my walls. She's not a real person, and I know that, but like the spirit of Norma Desmond, I believe, is in a lot of people and in the universe. So, and it invaded my walls yesterday when I was researching this, and it kept me up at night. I couldn't go to sleep until 3 a.m. because I was thinking about Sunset Boulevard. Yeah, please listen next week. I worked really hard on it. You get to a certain point where you get so delirious that you end up texting Nell things about Jamie Lloyd you're finding out that he's just dropping interviews, and it is funny as hell. I was laughing my ass off. No one understands the humor of it. Except me.
Except you.
Except me, because I'm special.
Wow.
Or just losing my mind. But first, we do have some news. I think I might want to move the two first points
to
the end because they feel like a good jumping off point.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Well, the one we've currently got at the end is also quite a good jumping off point.
Yeah.
Nah, just do those two. I think you're right, they're better.
Yeah. I feel like that would be a better one for next week.
Yeah.
But also good if we want to talk about the state of the play for the Tonys this year. I keep forgetting the Tonys are in like 3 weeks.
I know, it's incredible.
Because like I keep being like, why are all the shows like really going out and like back in the press again? And I was like, oh crap, they're campaigning for the Tonys.
What day is it actually on?
It's always on a Sunday. I mean, once I've done this,
I want to say it's like June 15th or something.
That feels right because it's always like smack dab in the middle of the month.
Yeah, 22 feels too late. 8 is way too early. I feel like it's 15.
I feel like it's the 15th.
All right. I'm going to order another £20 worth of Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Tonys.
Well, we can't watch them. It's really annoying to try and watch. I just kind of like, I think last year, because it really looked like Hell's Kitchen might win Best Musical, and I was like, I don't really want Hell's Kitchen to win, and I'm kind of invested in making sure it doesn't. Yeah, you were literally right. It's 15th. It's the 8th. Crap, it's the 8th.
There's no way it's the 8th.
Early.
God damn,
then.
That's so annoying that I can't get off work, because then we could have watched it together. Or we could have live reacted to it together.
Because I stayed up for a while for the last one. I don't know why I'm going to that one. That was later. Anyway, we're going to get into the news, and then we're going to yap, because Dear Evan Hansen has reared its head again in the culture. Nell's rekindled her fascination with it. Every 2 years, we have to discuss Dear Evan Hansen.
I have thoughts about it.
It's healthy if we talk about it once every 2 years and then forget it exists.
Yeah.
That's like low-key me of Next to Normal. I have to talk about it once every year. And then I'm good. I can go on with my life. This is what it is. We're going to talk about Next to Normal today because
of course.
I have some things to say about that and Dear Evan Hansen, actually. Because I've been comparing them for years. I've been doing comparisons for years. Anyway, first off, new Snoopy musical. This is very exciting.
It's their first one in like 25 years or something.
Yup.
It's coming out on like Apple TV.
Hey, Apple TV.
But Snoopy musical.
Snoopy musical. I'm interested in. It's more because like we have it, but it's really hard to log into.
My mum uses it a lot, so I kind of can't use it.
Like if I could use it more easily, I'd so be watching Schmigadoon.
Oh hell yeah!
When I go home, I might actually just watch Schmigadoon, like in the kitchen, and everyone's just gonna have to watch Schmigadoon because
they're just gonna have to deal with it.
Apple TV. Moving on. This is more Tony campaigning. Operation Mincemeat released Dear Bill live. Dear Bill is the best song in the show.
And I don't like it.
I think it's just a bit too long.
This is my issue. I think it is a really, really good song. I think it is a very emotional song. It just kind of keeps going.
I feel like I'd feel the resonance a lot more if it were a minute and a half shorter at least.
Yeah. I think its bridge is really good.
Yeah.
It feels like the first verse accomplishes everything that all the subsequent verses
And
do.
you kind of get where the twist is
Yeah.
really quickly. And then the twist happens and you're like, okay, now we can move on. And it just keeps
I
going.
feel like you could so easily do verse one, chorus, verse two, bridge, final chorus, and it would be a great song.
Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Um,
That being said, we do not write musicals apart
that
from in
being,
our heads.
I've taken to writing music when I'm drunk this week.
Yep.
I was telling Mel what I thought I was, what I think I was. I know I included Blanche Dubois. I was doing a Gracie Abrams parody. My friends thought it was funny at the time. Um, after about 15 glasses of wine, don't ask. Um, next up, this is massive for me. As someone who is now seeing Evita twice in 1 week, shout out Jamie Lloyd and your Access program. Um, I'm seeing Evita twice in 1 week this summer. You know,
It's going to be incredible.
it is going to be what it is because I am not getting obsessed with Oliver this summer. It's going to be Evita, and I'm manifesting it. You know,
We can hope.
we can hope because I do think I am seeing Oliver at some point in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, Oliver announced 4 new Olivers
They
today.
did. They did. Children.
Yeah, well, it's Oliver, so
Yeah. Yeah, I would actually care to see Oliver played by like
what adults?
it'd be funny. Like a 6-year-old man or something, that'd be funny as. Um yeah, Vita photos, they're in black and white. Is the production gonna be in black and white, like Sunset Boulevard, or like his other production with Vita was? Jamie Lloyd has it seems like he's cast away with cameras and he's found a microphone now.
I don't mind that.
I could see that working. You know, Evita worked over the radio. Makes sense. I do wonder if this is going to have some colors in it. I had a I have a feeling because if you actually think about it, the dominant colors of every single or like of all of his recent productions have been in the posters.
Hmm.
So for Much Ado, it was like pinky, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Tempest was blue.
Yeah.
Um, from what I could tell, um, what do you call it?
Romeo and Juliet was very
Red,
grey.
red and black.
Yeah.
And then um Sunset Boulevard, the only other color they use except from black and white is red, which is in the post.
Yeah.
So I have a
You're hopeful.
feeling I have a feeling we're gonna get some blues and whites. Maybe a bit of gold.
Would you like the Argentinian?
It is, but it's also the stuff he's using in the poster. And last time he did Evita, he just used black and white in the poster, and it was all black and white. So who knows? Eurovision happened. I watched it. It was so stressful.
I
Uh,
think Remember Monday deserved more points, but Eurovision has always been rigged. So
they did, and I was very happy for them that they got any jury votes, and I feel like that's a testament to how good they actually were.
I'm also not saying Eurovision's rigged because I'm British, and I think Britain very often puts up shit acts.
Oh, we are often bad at Eurovision. This year, and I'm not just saying that because I actually have seen both Holly Ann Hull and Lauren Byrne perform. I realized that
Hmm.
this week. I'm not just saying that because I enjoyed their performances. I thought they were actually decent. I really hated the Italy act.
Really?
Really hated it. My friends got really into it, and I was like, really? I just couldn't get over it. I just thought it was too like indulgent in itself.
Mm.
The Lithuanian boys who were dead behind the eyes were funny as hell to me with that little rock song. And the Portuguese people, my friend was like, "They're like if the Jonas Brothers had discovered weed earlier."
Incredible.
And I was like, "That is true." Um, yeah, I don't know if I'll be watching Eurovision again. That was too stressful. Um, and it did lead to one of my friends discovering the fact that Andrew Webber thinks the Phantom's a real person. Like he sent it to me and was like, "What the hell
Let's not discuss
is
this.
going on here?" And I went, "Are you not aware of this 40-year bit? Or it's not even a bit. It's a real fact." Anyway,
He is fully convinced that the Phantom is real.
goes back decades.
Yeah.
Heather's casting for the off-Broadway run. The big headline is Kerry Butler. And Kerry Butler in the Heather's musical as Miss Fleming, Fork found in drawer.
Yeah.
And I love Kerry Butler. I really like this isn't a diss against Kerry Butler. I'm never dissing Kerry Butler. I'd like that to be known. But this is Fork found in drawer, kind of, unfortunately. They did use two people from the open call casting that they had,
Which is quite good.
which is good. They are standbys, but it is a good starting point for people. What next? No, 11. I need to stop saying that. Next to normal West End cast recording rumors, please now. No one check my local files. That's all I have to say.
I will actually be very excited by this because I could listen to that cast again. They're very good.
I could, and we're gonna talk about my weird feelings of Next to Normal and that and the Broadway cast recording in a minute. Because I found out I've never had a unique experience in my life, and many people were having the exact same experience as me before this happened, which is like weird that this is a phenomenon that I'm seeing about. Death Becomes Her. I've done a Tiny Desk concert.
I'm a big fan of Death Becomes Her now.
I'm a massive fan of Death
I'm
Becomes Her.
just really into it.
I really love Megan Helty and Jennifer Smart. I just love the fact that like they're two women who are just allowed to be absolutely bonkers on stage, and the entire press run is just about the fact that they're really funny women.
Yeah.
And I'm excited by the fact that it's doing seemingly quite well, and so there will likely be a replacement cast at some point, and who is that casting going to be? That's going to be really fun.
Oh,
Like the dream cast of that. Guys, they could be cooking. Moving on. Diana mixtape. I don't know much about this.
I just saw it being announced that there's going to be a world premiere of it, and it looks like quite a stacked cast.
Yeah,
I have no idea what it is,
yeah,
but interesting.
very interesting. Okay. Taylor Jenkins Reid's to write the Chicks Jukebox musical. I read this and went, "Oh crap, I'm probably gonna want to go see this, aren't I?"
Yeah.
I don't think famously, I love Daisy Jones and the Six. That's why you're going to catch me at Stereophonic a lot this summer. However, I don't think she's the best writer. Like, I don't think she's like. I feel like she writes very readable stuff. You know?
Yeah.
And that's not a dispatch on her writing abilities. And I could see her writing a decent musical. Book to a musical. And I do like a bit of the Chicks. So. Frozen proshot. It was recorded on the West End, and it is going to be on a Disney Plus. We love to see.
This is massive.
This is massive for 5-year-olds across the land.
Yeah.
I think it really
This is massive for Disney Plus, basically.
Disney Plus. Yeah, what were you gonna say?
I'm really torn because on the one hand, I'm not a big fan of Disney as a company for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But also, it is really nice for a pretty accessible platform like Disney Plus to be acquiring a ton of pro shots.
I mean, with the advent of Disney Plus, it's good that Disney have found. I feel like Disney theatricals has like its own vibe,
Yeah.
and they seem to just kind of be in it for the love of the game. I mean, there obviously is a monetary element to it, but you can't look me dead in the face and tell me that something like, I don't know, Tarzan the musical wasn't for the love of the game,
Yeah.
or the idea of having Sierra Bogas roam around a Broadway stage on Heelys wasn't for the love of the game,
Yeah.
or
Like,
anything
I think
Julie Taymor doesn't like.
ultimately it's more so that they're restricted by needing to make a profit
Yeah, by the
than it's like
actual
funded by needing to make
sponsors.
a profit.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I am glad that like something as accessible, like something as mainstream as Disney Plus have kind of created their own content, their own
Mm,
life cycle for pro shots. I'm not sure we'll get many other pro shots, like on Disney pro shots.
no, but I can dream.
I can dream. Again, Hadestown pro shot and there would be funny as.
Yeah.
Um, just
I
for
could,
one,
no, Next to Normal wouldn't go on there.
next one was on PBS. That's who got them.
But internationally,
Internationally, spend some time in some TikTok comments if you want to find a version. It's quite easy. I found
yeah.
one easily. No
But
one
we would
checked my
never
laptop.
watch a bootleg.
No one checked my laptop. Moving on. Just one day opened, and if you don't know, me and Nell spend a lot of time talking about Live Aid.
Like, it's the kind of musical we probably should go and
You
see.
should go
And
see.
we're just probably not going to go see it.
Here's the thing, if it runs longer than like 6 months, we'll probably end up at it at some point.
Yeah.
Oh.
But right now, it's not a priority.
Now, if I found out there was a number about the Concorde,
Oh my God, if
and
there was
it's
a
used
musical
in
about
it.
the Concorde.
No, if there was a number about the Concorde and the use of the Concorde in Live Aid.
There's a Live Aid recording. Oh, well, there is a just for one day recording,
Yeah,
isn't there?
I think we'd have to go.
Hold on, I'm gonna look.
You
Just
know,
for
I can't remember the name of the song, but there's a song by like a 2000s rapper that's gone around on TikTok, which is like, I'm pissed, and there's a line that goes, I'm pissed I never got to fly on the Concorde. And I'm like, that's so relatable, man. Us when we were walking out of Newsies.
I'm. You know what? I'm like what I've just realized
Yeah.
is that obviously there isn't because it's a jukebox.
Yeah, obviously.
There might be a line about it. They might say something.
I hope
They
there's
might
a
be like, "Guess who just flew over on the Concorde?" In which you would hear two people clapping from the back of the theater.
me and you go, Concorde, Concorde, Concorde.
Unfortunately, I'm looking at like this list of songs and
They just sing the songs
it's
from Live Aid.
really good. Like obviously, but yeah, we might actually have to go.
See, I feel like once your interest would peak, I feel like we'd end up in it.
Yeah, and I fear my interest is peaked. I like
There's
the concept of them opening with Heroes, which is my favorite David Bowie song.
we were just talking about how much you love Bowie. Yeah, that song's a Bowie song.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, my. I was about to say something, and I was like, I don't want to come across as really stupid, like I don't know what I'm on about. So I second guessed myself. Um, that's the second. Like, sorry, I just realized that this is just one day is the second show in the past 10, like 5 years. That's an amalgamation of a ton of songs to go to play at the Shaftesbury
What's the first?
and Juliet.
Every time you bring it up, I'm reminded that I've agreed to do an Anne Juliet episode in the next couple weeks. And I'm actually just infuriated by
You
it.
still have time to change it if you want.
No, but it fits really well.
That's the thing. You brought it up.
I actually talked myself into doing
You
it.
talked yourself into it. I was like, you get to pick.
And now we're doing Anne Juliet. I'm furious about it.
Oh, anyway.
I've been in a very angry mood recently. So,
My punching bag is Anne Juliet.
yes. Today is going to be Dear Evan Hansen as usual. In a couple of weeks, it's Anne Juliet
Anne Juliet.
as usual.
As per.
As per.
As Floyd Collins cast album recorded. This is massive for me as a lover of Adam Gettle. Children, why aren't you going and seeing the Gettle musical? Hmm? See, one thing obviously there were many things I was excited for about Floyd Collins going to Broadway. I had my apprehensions because Floyd Collins is ultimately a musical about a man stuck in a cave.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if that's Broadway material, but I love a bit of Get On Me. Also, when the cast was announced, I was like, oh, yeah, yeah. But when the cast was announced, I was also like, wait, so all like the Gatsby fangirls gonna go see a Get On musical? That's gonna be so funny. And they just didn't. And I was like, guys, come on. Come on now.
I want to see the ghetto.
Go and see the ghetto. Get your brain opened. Use it. I hate reading comprehension. I hate comprehending stuff at the moment. And it would be really great, like, if I couldn't comprehend anything, but unfortunately, that's where we're at. Nicole Scherzinger wins the Drama Desk Award this year for Distinguished Performance. This is big for her and her Tony race, actually. But it is important to note that Audra is not eligible because she's already won it.
Hmm.
It's like one of those things where you win once and then never again. But nonetheless, important to mention. Now, this was big. I didn't realize it was happening, and then everyone started tweeting about it like as it was happening, and I had a lot of questions. I think it was for a gala. Anyway, Falsetto's reunion with for Lincoln Center.
This was massive.
This was absolutely massive because, as we often say, this production of Falsettos never dies.
Oh, it just keeps coming back.
It will never leave our cultural zeitgeist or the musical theatre zeitgeist in a way. I do have to ask, why are people cropping out Andrew Reynolds?
But in fairness,
Mm.
well, here's the thing I don't get. Because he's not on stage for a lot of it. So you may as well just take one of the pictures of like them performing.
Yeah.
If you is Andrew Reynolds cancelled? Like I
Cancelled
sound
you,
old as hell.
cancelled you judgmental fuck.
Yeah.
For reals.
I know what you're referencing, by the way.
No,
Because I've also seen
I'd be concerned if you didn't know what I was referencing. Um, like,
yeah.
is he really cancelled?
I don't think he is.
I don't know. People on Twitter confuse me sometimes. Like, I think I'm chronically online, and then something like that happens, and I'm like, I've missed the joke. Um, Now this is big, but happened quite quietly, and I've kind of not seen anyone talk about it. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, we're in a different time. Because like a couple of like 5 years ago, this would have been headline news. There would have been parties in the street. People would have been living their best life. And I texted you about it, like being like, wait, did you know about this? This is crazy. Um, Be More Chill reunion is gonna happen at Two River City
Two Rivers Theatre, where
Theatre
it was like originally.
in New Jersey, where it had its like 2 week run and somehow got a cast recording and an audio bootleg. It had a 2 week run, a cast recording, and an audio bootleg and a dream. But the important thing that gagged me was both wills.
Yeah.
Now, if you weren't a teenager in 2017, the legend goes Will Connolly doesn't do musical theatre anymore.
Which devastated many of us.
Like horrific, worst day of many 14-year-olds' lives. So when it went off Broadway and then transferred to Broadway, Will
Roland.
How the fuck did I just forget Will Roland's name?
Of Dear Evan Hansen fame.
Dear Evan Hansen fame, Jared, a character who makes no sense, like many of them don't.
I was gonna say something, but I don't want to bring it up because last time I brought it up, you weren't angry. It's one of those things that I think people forget about, but I never do.
What is it?
It's Jared eats bath bombs.
Jared.
Many people have forgotten the ancient text.
About ages.
It's because every time you hear it, it's me bringing it up to talk about Dear Evan Hansen. Already it's bath bombs.
I feel like we're losing so much of the ancient text because Tumblr's like died.
I know, I've stopped using it.
Yeah, I had to like when I was researching next week's episode, I was there was a write-up on Tumblr and like all of the links were dead.
It's awful.
It's horrific. Here's the thing, if Tumblr was still alive, I know Tumblr's still alive and I don't think it'll ever die because it's just gonna be one of those sites that keeps like it's a cockroach.
Yeah. Don't
Um,
be mean about my baby.
I'm not being mean, I mean that affectionately. It should be dead. For all intents and purposes, Tumblr as a website should not exist anymore. Should not be
Yeah,
fun.
absolutely. But I love it anyways.
But it is gonna outlive me. And I've made peace with that, and I would like it that way. You know?
Yeah.
Um, if Tumblr was still a functioning force, that's what I meant to say. We would all know about this by now.
Yeah.
But it's not.
I will say,
Yeah.
BMC reunion. Are they gonna sing Lose a Geek Whatever? Because I dislike this song.
We need to be on the ground reporting. Joe
Yeah.
Iconis, give us a call. I've got time.
I've got time.
Now's
Not
fair.
weekends.
We can go to New Jersey. I kind of hate New Jersey, but I'll go.
We could go.
We could go.
I don't even have any reasoning for not liking the song Lose a Geek Whatever.
Lose a Geek Whatever was the Act 1 finale in Broadway?
Yeah, when Will Roland went into it.
Is it just because it changed?
No.
Okay.
I think in part it's just because I love
Upgrade? Yeah, but Upgrade is a
Upgrade.
too.
Upgrade is one of the best songs in the show.
Yeah.
And I say this as someone who thinks that every single song in Be More Chill is like a top 10 song. It's a no skip album. I was thinking about this. It is truly a no skip album.
So funny.
Um,
Like your 10 out of 10 albums. It's
my
like
10 out of 10 album is Be More Chill,
Be More
but the like
Chill.
Two Rivers version.
Ah! No others. It's just Be More Chill.
I think one of the reasons, yeah, is that I think Upgrade is like one of the best songs. And I think it's a really good icon closer as well.
Yeah.
Because the idea of ending with optic nerve blocking on, which I want to say they also end with a loser geek whatever.
They do.
I'm gonna have to pull up the lyrics.
I'm not gonna be a loser or a geek or whatever anymore.
Don't insult Will Roland in front of me.
I'm never insulting one of the Wills.
Loser.
I will insult Joe Iconis though.
Whatever song lyrics. It's a. Did you know this song is 6 minutes long?
Yeah, I knew it was like freakishly long.
I don't think it does end with optic nerve blocking on.
So when does that happen then? Because that's kind of important for the plot.
I'm gonna have to go on this fucking cast album one time.
Yeah.
Be More Chill. Okay. Upgrade. How does Upgrade end? Doesn't end there. God, I actually really love Will Roland's voice. I'm remembering now.
I thought about Roland for the first time in like ages this week.
Because of this.
Because of this. It's like, wow, good for him. I thought about George Salazar kind of recently. Oh my god, it was because he was in Snow White.
Oh my god.
I was thinking about George Salazar.
It is kind of a good song. It like slaps a little bit.
Music equal whatever.
Okay, it does end with obviously never
Okay,
booking on. It's just
okay,
not in the lyrics.
okay, good.
So that's fine.
Yeah,
I
because
think
like
my
plot
issue,
wise, that has to happen.
plot-wise, it has to happen. I just really, really like the implications of
Also,
having this whole
upgrade is like a better lyric.
yeah. Should I take the upgrade, upgrade,
And
upgrade?
not as obvious as loser geek whatever,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
I just really like the implications of having this whole musical about Jeremy
Mhm.
and all that he's doing to be the main character and how much he wants it, and
Mm.
him never having a solo song.
Mm-hmm.
I could write essays.
And when you were 14, you did.
And when I was 14, I did. And I think so you know what? You're probably right, it is just change. Because I do think Loser Geek Whatever is a good song. I
Yeah.
just prefer the version without Loser Geek Whatever.
And that's all right.
I also think it's one of those things where it was obviously written later than the rest of the show.
Yes. Yeah.
So it just feels weird.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
But, you know,
Okay.
it's a personal preference thing. I
Also,
hate it with all my heart, but I have no ill will towards it.
yeah, like that, yeah, yeah. Like you feel a kind of passion towards it that only like a 14-year-old can.
Yeah,
And like there's no changing your opinion on it
yeah,
because it's set in stone. I have that
yeah.
with so many things. Um,
Speaking of, Dear Evan Hansen,
I was gonna say one thing about one thing about being with Chill before we move on. Who's gonna play Christine?
me,
Yeah, honestly, yeah,
me.
yeah.
No, you and me, we should be Chloe and Brooke,
Chloe and Brooke.
obviously.
Obs. Um,
Obs.
although I do
Like
looking back on it,
OMG,
like
Chloe,
OMG, like
answer me.
I looking back on it, I do think like the women characters are kind of a bit underwritten, but it is also like be more chill, so I can't be like be more chill feminism. Uh,
I just also want to say, like, Being Watchful is based on a book.
yeah, it is. It's
The
based on
book is like incredibly like racist, misogynistic.
yeah,
It's like
yeah.
awful.
I
The
just
musical's really good.
I remember when I was reading like all the press around it, I was like, can we please stop acting like be more chill to be kind of like progressive stuff? It doesn't really have to be.
I think it's progressive in a like 2015 way.
It is, which makes sense.
Whereas kind of looking back, I love it more with nostalgia than that I think is like good representation.
Yeah, no. I mean, if you were still sat around being like, be more chill is one of the best representations, I'd be like, okay, yeah. Hmm.
But also I think like it's fundamentally a kind of comedy show.
Yeah,
And I think I'm very happy it doesn't shy away from that with any character.
yeah,
Like a lot of the jokes that Brooke and Chloe are like a part of
mm.
are they the best? And are they sometimes leaning on making fun of women? Yes.
I don't
But
know,
it's
but
in that same way that like they also do have moments that are just genuinely funny.
yeah.
And they're playing like stereotypes of characters.
Yeah, I think everyone is to an extent, and that's kind of the point of being more chill. Everyone is a stereotype.
Yeah.
Um,
Because unironically, that bit in the opening song More Than Survive.
oh yeah.
When because I was thinking about this the other day. When they're like,
I'm not for about more than
she
surviving
said
it.
she'd only sleep with him if he beat her at pool, and then she lost at
Lost at
pool
pool.
deliberately.
Yes.
Then like 5 seconds later, it's like, dude, what's the story with Madeline? Let's just say it's a good thing I'm great at pool or whatever. Like he says, it's ridiculous, but it's so funny.
It is it like it is ridiculous. Anyway, speaking on to something else we raged about, because here's the thing. Everyone now is commenting
Here's the thing.
on Next because here's the thing.
Because here's the
Because
thing.
here's the thing. I need to get down there. I need to get down to where you are and stop talking gibberish with you
Yeah.
in front of someone who doesn't know me.
In front of someone.
Yeah. So that they can sit there and be like, what the hell? Have you lost your mind? No.
No.
You understand explicitly what I'm saying when I say singing in the rain.
Singing in the rain.
Do you know Zack and
Or
Cody?
that one episode of Zack and Cody.
Do you that episode came up on my TikTok while I was hungover and I watched all of it.
One episode.
It is a great episode. I was reminded of that, and the entire time I was thinking, do you know Singing in the Rain or that episode of Zack and Cody? Um, But we have been raging against Dear Evan Hansen for longer than everyone else has. We would like that to be known.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, we have brains. I don't know why we decided like to stop liking Dear Evan Hansen. I think it was I don't know why we were so early to this.
Um, so for me, it was a kind of mix of a ton of stuff. Well, I was really, really into it.
I have a feeling it was like personal kind of for
Yeah,
both of us, where we started where we like stopped listening to it and then had to reevaluate it.
yeah,
And I don't know what the personal thing is, and I don't want to think about it too long because then I might remember it.
yeah. But I do remember being in the theatre cafe
Oh
before
yeah.
going to see it.
I miss the fish get me so bad.
I miss the theatre cafe so bad. But I just, where do I want to start with Darren Hansen?
Well, can I start with what I've been seeing said about it as of late?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, Next Normal has had its pro shot come out, obviously. Duh, we were all aware. And the pro shot has been kind of going viral in a way. Like I was excited for the pro shot to come out for people to find Next to Normal because I've always said I don't get why everyone loves Dear Evan Hansen so much. Next to Normal is so much better and it achieves what Dear Evan Hansen is trying to do so much better. I think it raises more awareness about mental health than Dear Evan Hansen could ever, you know?
Hmm.
And I've been saying this for years. So Next Normal comes out, people fall in love with it, people start making edits. And I do have to say, stop with the edits.
Esmé sent me a message this week, which is simply an edit, and the captions she sent it with was 9/11,
Should I tell you why?
which, by the way, is ridiculous, but
Yeah, but it was personal 11 for me. Why would you
yeah.
do that? Why would you do
Why
that?
did you do that?
It was an edit of Diana and Gabe to Wait for Me live from London. Stop that. That's
Oh,
not fun.
stop that.
No. No, 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 no. Why did I just see a call about it edit to Diana and Natalie? If you don't know Call About It, that is that song that goes, Once I took your medication to know how
I
it...
saw this one.
Yeah, although I do have to say, the Next Normal edit has given us one of our new favourite bits. Day in the Life of a True Brexit Geezer.
In the life of a true Brexit geezer.
Geezer.
Wake up and meet the wife, Dan.
Dan.
My little princess.
Yes. Gabe.
Isn't he beautiful?
Oh.
Take Natalie to piano practice. Well on the Bugatti. Quick stop at Dr. Fine's and load up that plate.
Anyway, so they're like one edit has like 500,000 views last time I checked. It's the Doomsday one. And it starts with Henry. And like it starts with Henry saying, I didn't know you had a brother. And then Natalie going, I don't, he died. And then the person in the like captions had to go, I didn't realize this was gonna be big. I posted it for like the 3 other Next to Normal fans. And in the comments it's just littered with people going, where is this? What is this? Where can I watch this? Da, 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 da. Love that for you. Please look up the content warnings. But there's a couple of people being like, what in the Dear Evan Hansen is this?
No!
And everyone in the comments is like, no, baby girl. This is so much better. This is like what like Next to Normal ran so that Dear Evan Hansen could fall flat on its fucking face.
Yeah.
And I truly feel, and also there's been like this whole discussion because, fun fact, Next to Normal and Dear Evan Hansen were directed by the same person in their Broadway incarnations, and we're now at the point where in the UK specifically we have a non-replica production of Next to Normal, and we have a non-replica production of Dear Evan Hansen. We have a non-replica production of Dear Evan Hansen currently making its way around the UK. And the Sweaty Oracle put to a very interesting video posing the question: Next to Normal had its issues in its original Broadway run about mental health and what it was trying to say by being very presentational and like not really taking the issue of mental health very seriously and having Diana walk off into the wilderness and not continue mental health treatment. Next to Normal in the West End fixes a lot of those issues by direction.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I think one of the fixes is having the finale not be set 3 months in the future or a describable amount of time in the future. Having Dr. Fine on stage and giving Diana pills, and that assumption of that conversation between the two of them being she is still with Dr. Fine. He just can't legally tell Dan that.
Yeah.
Um, and he posed the question, can Dear Evan Hansen be solved through directing?
I don't think so.
And we've been having this debate for years of there's something good about Dear Evan Hansen. There's something that works, but it doesn't. And so I found that really interesting.
My thing is I think, like I was saying, there is something good. I think the thing that is good is the Murphy family.
Yes, yes.
And I don't think direction is enough
Mm-hmm.
to be able to refocus the show on them.
I think a director could probably help focus it a little bit more, but at the end of the day, you've still got Evan singing like all of the songs.
Yeah. I think there's one thing that I think could be very interesting
Mm.
and could maybe fix it is trying to kind of play it as like a narrative control thing.
Yeah,
So
100%.
the ability of having like the Murphy family on stage all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but like pushed to the back by Evan, like
Mm-hmm.
frozen in place by Evan while he's singing his little songs about for forever,
About trees,
trees,
tree bros.
and then like by the time you get to the end, him being pushed to the back.
Yeah.
I think that could be very interesting, but I also think then it still wouldn't fix all of the issues about mental health.
I also think a director and a very keen director with like a very good eye for this stuff could make the character of Connor clearer.
Yeah. I just think the biggest issues lie in the book,
Yeah.
and without a like rewrite or at least like rejig of the
Mm-hmm.
book,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
all of these issues, while they could be like diminished, they're still gonna exist.
Yeah, I wonder if um you know how like Pirates of Penzance has got a new book
Yeah.
and a new name? I wonder if in
Yeah.
like 50 years or so, I'd be like, we're doing Evan Hansen, but we're rewriting the book. I
That
wonder
would be
if
cool.
that's ever gonna happen.
Evan Hansen, colon, you will be found. Evan Hansen, comma, you will be found.
Evan Hansen, comma, for forever, I'm never gonna die, bitches. Evan Hansen 2, Electric Boogaloo.
I just think because I also okay, I'm very glad that I had no interactions with the Next to Normal besides as like through Esmé
And I talk
until
about it
I
a lot.
saw the West End production
Yes, yeah.
because you kind of didn't know that there was a like not different ending,
Mm.
but yes, a different ending.
Different implication.
Yeah, because I think like what the ending of Next to Normal on the West End that I saw meant to me
Mm.
was basically that yes, Diana is still hurting.
Yeah.
And ultimately, she is hurting so much that it is now beginning to hurt everyone around her.
Mm-hmm.
And she needs to fix herself before she can even think about, like,
Anyways.
trying to be a perfectly normal family again.
Yeah.
And that is a painful thing to do. She is going to have to step away from her family.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, it is for the best. It is for her health.
Yeah. And I believe that the text also supports that interpretation
Yeah.
because in those like from the moment like basically they also like because of the repositioning of ECT almost the ECT in this interpretation works in so many ways
Yeah.
because Gabe's confined to his little box.
Yeah.
He's not like I don't know how else to explain it other than like Aaron Tveit pole dancing about that set You know, I have no
Sure.
expectation. But if you've ever seen that 2XP bootleg, never watched a rock bootleg in my life. If you've seen that 2XP bootleg, Gabe is like prancing around that set being sexy ghost son. And looking back, it is like, really? Why are we having Aaron Tveit run around being a sexy ghost son? But no, like next to normal, like and even like when she has that mo complete moment of clarity with Natalie,
Yeah.
she has that complete moment of clarity with Dan, and then she says to Dan at the like in So Anyway I'm Leaving, so anyway I'm leaving is that or stay and die.
Mm.
And then having that be like she's leaving because she has to make a change, and it's either stop the treatment and die, or keep the treatment and just like leave the home. Like that's almost a better thing because her daughter will still be there, and maybe Dan will still be there, but
Yeah.
she's going
Like
through
I
that.
think that final like talk
Mm,
between Dan and Diana,
yeah.
it feels very sad on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And I think then to have this thing of Dan being like not wanting this and just wanting to kind of pretend everything is still normal, which is what he's done the whole show.
To the
And then
point
to
where
have
he's like,
Diana leave and
never
suddenly find
grieve.
out, oh, he's also seeing this like figment of like this
He's
manifestation of mental health.
like he's never grieved his son because he's been
Yeah.
too busy acting like everything's fine.
And like this idea that that's not healthy, that that
Yeah,
is the issue, that ultimately you
yeah,
do have to address these problems. And
yeah.
sometimes that is doing the painful thing of leaving to work on yourself.
Mhm.
And it is going to impact your relationships.
Yeah.
You do need to do that because the alternative is being in a house all alone.
Wanted.
Yeah, but being in a house all alone and still having these issues.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's the kind of issues that would have killed his wife, and he would prefer that than realizing that something is wrong.
yeah, yeah. And I think, I mean, I wonder, because basically, going in, I saw Next Level 3 times live, and I'm so glad for that because first time I was sobbing my eyes out and unable to think of anything except from, oh my God, I'm so moved. This is so amazing. I love this musical. Amazing performances. Second time I was able to like cry a little bit less and collect myself and, really think about it. Third time, I was able to sit back and kind of go, okay, that means that, that's that, that
Yeah,
plays into that, that links up with that, and that links up with that. And like even like the moment where like Natalie can feel Gabe's presence right at the end, and as he glances over her, and she's just like, "What was that?" And it's
yeah,
like, it's kind of this acknowledgement of this thing, and like Gabe being constrained to it, and even like the focus of what is Gabe to the family,
yeah.
and the whole Mike thing, and the rest of it. Very well directed. Shout out Michael Longhurst, done God's work. I wonder if there could be that kind of focus given to Connor. Like, what is Connor to Evan? What is like? Could Connor? What could a Gabe thing happen with um Zoe or like the Murphy family when they're doing something like Requiem? Could we have that
I would
focus?
say no,
Mm,
because I think the lyrics of Requiem
mm.
are fundamentally not actually about Connor.
No.
And I think that's the issue, is that the very start of this show, a kid dies. He kills
Yeah.
himself.
Yeah.
He feels so alone in both school and family. He feels, that he has no other way to go in this life, that he kills himself.
Mm.
And then that is never really brought up again.
Nope.
We do not find out why Connor actually felt that way.
Yeah.
We
When
can make a lot of like inferences.
that's the other thing is like when you're doing something as explicit as mental health, can you please just like name stuff? Can you like because like it's very obvious that he like both Evan and Connor are being treated by or were treated by mental health professionals at one point in their lives. So I'm assuming they have some kind of working diagnosis. Can we name what it is?
Yeah. I also think it's the thing of like with Connor actually being such a small part of the show,
Yeah, yeah,
it's that the times we do see actual real Connor, like not this figment of Evan's imagination,
yeah.
He's a dick.
He is a fucking asshole. And like Zoe's always like, yeah, he used to beat me up to like an insane extent and like
She does not say that.
does she say?
She says that he used to scare her.
Yes.
He would get high on various drugs. We
Yes.
never find out what, and that he would kind of go out of his mind because he was abusing substances. And that scared her.
Yes.
Fair enough. But the fact is that we see Zoe throughout the whole show. We are led to trust Zoe because our narrator is Evan, who is in love with Zoe.
Yeah.
We see her as this like very positive character. Like, as in our interpretation of her is positive. She doesn't really have any negative features besides kind of being a bit of a bratty teenager occasionally. And so when she says that our first introduction to her is Requiem,
yeah,
like properly as her character is Requiem, where she says, I'm not going to mourn this guy.
Yeah.
I'm sad because my family is being broken up because my brother has killed himself.
Yeah.
But I fundamentally do not care.
Mm-hmm.
The only time she starts to like Connor is when she is being told what we know are fake stories about him.
Yes. Yeah.
At no point in the show are we ever meant to, or are we never allowed to like Connor. We're never led down the way of liking him. Because he isn't a person.
No.
He doesn't have a character besides being a dick at that breakfast we see in Anybody Got a Map. And being a dick to Evan right before he kills himself. Yeah. Which, fair play!
Evan Hansen to be beat up more.
Yes. And also, like, in actuality, the one thing we do see is him getting mad at Evan because Evan is writing this very weird, like,
love letter
about how in love he is with Connor's sister, who Connor knows Evan has never talked to.
Yeah. The show's so weird.
It's so weird. I still have the script open on my phone. The doxing scene is great though. The doxing scene is possibly the best scene ever written for musical theatre.
You love that scene so much. You'll never find a bigger shooter for the doxing scene than now.
I constantly forget it exists. Like, whenever I'm thinking about the show, I forget that there is a scene towards the end where the Murphy family gets doxed or, like, sent death threats. But I also think that that's a very interesting concept. That Evan has lied so much that now the family he was trying to help at the beginning is being sent death threats because of things he has said.
And again, we could get in social media, like Philly, instead of seeing some screens that make loud noises before the show starts.
Yeah. And I also think you do kind of, in a weird way, it gets kind of meta because you see that rhetoric in, like, the fandom. In that a lot of people were trying to make Mr. Murphy, does he have a name?
Larry
Murphy. They tried to make him out to be a villain, that he was, like, objectively a bad dad to Connor, which isn't true.
I don't know enough about these people to make choices.
The one song we have about we have two songs. We have Requiem. I'm gonna talk about To Break in a Glove. About 3 years ago, me and Esmé spent 4 hours texting each other about what the fuck To Break in a Glove was about. We could not figure it out. It's a metaphor. I'm gonna find these texts because we got to a point.
While you do that, I'm gonna go pee.
We got to a point where we were like, we know this is a metaphor. We just don't know what the metaphor is about.
And that's one thing, like, the Next to Normal Pro Shot was very good at, like, this production Next to Normal and the Pro Shot was very good at doing, because the whole metaphor of I Miss the Mountains, the first part was kind of lost on me under the original direction. I was like, who the fuck is she talking about? And then I was like, oh, Diana's singing about Natalie. When I realized that the first time I saw it, I think I literally started weeping audibly.
Yeah. I think, again, I'm very glad that I saw Next to Normal in the production I did when I did. Because, as I've said before on this podcast, if I'd seen it when I was 14, I would have killed myself. And number two, seeing it now, I got it on a very personal level, and I'm glad I never went to go see it again to try and, like, analyze it.
See, I am glad I had, like, a year between, like, having my emotional reaction to it, and, like, I also know the material very well. So when I was able to go back, I was like, okay, like, this is a piece of theatre. This isn't your life.
My God, I found I went through this line by line, by the way, to try and figure out what the fuck it was about, and we still weren't sure.
There's no directing around that. Right. Do you care? To
I
analyze.
just want to say that immediately after analyzing and trying to figure out to break in a glove,
Yeah, what do we
one of the
want?
next things I did in conversation with you
Yeah.
was that bit where we came up with fake facts about Tuck Everlasting, which include one that I forgot came from this, but that we constantly talk about,
What one was
which
that?
is Tuck Everlasting's lack of success was actually carefully orchestrated by Lin-Manuel Miranda. This is an actual thing we talk about. And I didn't realize it came from a text I sent you at 3 minutes to 1 in the morning on the 17th of July, 2022.
Oh my God, that was a long time ago.
He auditioned for the man in the yellow suit but was unsuccessful, and the casting directors mocked his singing to his face. Rightfully so. Lin-Manuel Miranda was shocked and enraged, and so dedicated his time to developing Hamilton for Broadway, and his perseverance paid off in the early closure of Tuck Everlasting and the international acclaim of Hamilton. This is a joke, but it's actually just true.
It's actually fact. Lynn told us himself.
Anyways, would you like to hear what
Yes.
3 years ago we came up with about To Break in the Glove? I believe we then had a second conversation about this, which I'll try and find.
Yeah. We had many conversations about To Break in the Glove. I remember there was just like a period where we were just constantly texting about it.
Yeah. Okay. We figured out it was a metaphor very early on, because obviously it is.
Obviously.
I said, it's clearly meant to be something about his relationship with Connor, but it's just never explained.
Mm.
And then I went through it line by line to figure it out because I'm that bored. Here is what my analysis was. Okay. The opening bit suggests the relationship with Connor bit is meant to be hypothetical, which kind of makes sense throughout the song. Like, he's saying he did this to hope to play catch with Connor, but they never did. So all the work going into Break in a Glove never actually happened.
Mm.
He's just wishing it did. Like, he had all of these ideas now after it's too late on how he should have cared.
Mm.
That would then imply that stuff about people using easier methods, which makes the line till they gotta buy another glove next week, very dark. Because if the glove is meant to be Connor, then it's like he died too soon and now they've got to try with Zoe instead. Even though he knows now that that would never work. And then him telling Evan all of this is just Evan being a manipulator again, because it's more like he's the next glove they're trying to treat right, even though he doesn't deserve that. Still no idea why Evan starts singing, though. That just makes no sense. I think I can't read this next bit because it's too mean towards Ben Platt. And I love Ben Platt now.
We like there was a lot of like things we said about Dear Evan Hansen, which was just us being like, we are too cool. We are like not. We're just being snarky for the sake of it, I think.
But I do think that that kind of holds up. That it's this concept of
that was a good analysis. Us being snarky,
yeah,
not important,
not good. That it's all hypothetical. That he now knows the proper way to break in a glove is, you know, it takes a little patience, it takes a little time, a little perseverance, and a little uphill climb. You might not think it's worth it. You might begin to doubt, but you can't take any shortcuts. You've got to stick it out. And it's the hard way, but it's the right way to break in a glove. That's what you should do.
Saying it, like it all came back to me. Like it all flooded.
I genuinely think I could recite all of Dear Evan Hansen by heart without meaning to. Can we try to have an optimistic outlook? Can we buck up just enough to see the world won't fall apart? Maybe this year we decide we're not giving up before we tried. This year we make a new start. I know. You can go around today and ask the other kids to sign your cast. I'm proud of you already. I'm not doing Dear Evan Hansen. I'm not doing Evan Hansen's bit. Another stellar. I actually do know all of this.
I do.
And I've got to stop.
It's all coming back to quote Celine Dion. It's all coming back to me now.
I'm gonna try and find.
I do wonder about because also the other thing that's happening with Next Normal at the moment is people are having a reckoning with it and kind of with their past selves and Next to Normal, which again is an experience that only I thought I had personally, because I'm finding out this isn't a common experience. You know, I thought I was having a unique experience. Turns out I wasn't. Of getting really into Next Normal as a teenager, thinking it's amazing, thinking it's the best thing ever, thinking there's no fault of it. Growing up a little bit, going, wait, there's issues with this. I don't know how I feel about this anymore. And also, it's not helped by the Alice Ripley allegations. And I say allegations, but also, so many people have the same story. It's crazy. Feeling icky about that, So not listening to it, like getting as much space as possible between themselves and next to normal, and then kind of coming back to this pro shot as a bit more of an adult, a bit more of understanding as well, and a bit more lived experience, and being able to reappraise it. And
Yeah.
I wonder if we'll ever have that reckoning with next to normal, not next to normal, Dear Evan Hansen. Because there was kind of some of that when the movie came out, with people just being like, wait, has it always been this bad? And I was sat there going, yes, yes, it
Yeah.
has. Actually, like the movie is bad, but nothing that makes it particularly bad is present in the stage show, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I found my next bit about to break in a glove.
okay. Was this a couple months later?
Yeah, this was in August.
Yeah.
Um, I think if we take the metaphor to be about parenting and what the Murphys wish they'd done with Connor, then Evan joining in is him being a bitch. Like, oh yeah, my mum was also really shit at raising me. I can be your next love and be your son, and you can do well with me this time. Which then makes sense and also kind of makes the musical more about the parents and families and the actual suffering kids, which let's discuss. That
Well,
was my
yes. Well, yes, because actually, I was just thinking about it. Why does the show start with the parents? I think Next to Normal is not next. I keep getting them confused. Dear Evan Hansen is still confused about who it wants to be about because in name it's about Evan Hansen and in content it's about Evan Hansen. But also there are these moments like you start the show with the two families and you start it with the mums being like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, you know?
Mm.
And then they don't really return to that except for in, that unreleased song.
What, the bedroom down the hall?
Banger tune.
A fucking great song.
And again, it's so annoying because it's like you guys were so on something there, but then you didn't, you got rid of it. Question mark, question mark. You know? And it's so annoying. I feel like a lot of my frustration with Dear Evan Hansen comes from the fact that like I can so clearly see how this was supposed to be a good musical.
Yeah. I think it gets like halfway there is my biggest issue with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why, like, even all these years later, I still have this like obsession with it.
Yeah.
Because it's just so almost there.
Yeah.
But then like we were saying earlier, like I don't think a good director could fix it.
No.
I think it is like fundamentally flawed.
I think I would be very intrigued to see what some like a dramaturg could do with it. You give them the book. You give you give Dear Evan Hansen to a dramaturg and a strong director, and I'd be very intrigued to see what would happen to it.
Yeah.
And we would be first in line
Oh yeah.
after a couple of drinks.
It's just, I also think like the more and more I think about it, it's just so strange because you have characters like Alana.
Again, what the fuck do they do with Alana?
She has one little bit where it's like shown that she's also alone. And that's obviously a big theme. Actually, oh, all of these characters are alone. They just don't realize it.
Maybe community and being together is a way forward. But then they're kind of like,
Yeah.
maybe not.
And it's like also this weird thing about the Connor project and what that inspires within the show's universe is objectively good.
Yes.
It gets a bit weird when you get to the doxing scene.
Oh,
But like at its core, it's objectively good.
yes.
But then as an audience, knowing that all of that is built on a lie,
Mm-hmm.
does that kind of undermine it?
Mm-hmm.
This idea, and like at the end, it all falls apart. Like
Yeah.
there's this idea that these kids we know are all suffering because they all have these little individual moments when we're seeing that they are all alone. Even after singing a song where they were like, "You are not alone."
Again, what the fuck does you will be found mean? I'm so confused still.
It seems like a like rallying cry for like teenagers, and I get that, but it's just within the actual context of the show, it completely falls apart because
That's
the kids are alone, and
yeah.
ultimately their community falls apart because it was built on a lie. Because you're suggesting that in real life they can't build this thing up.
That's why like a rallying cry like light at the end of Next to Normal works so much better. It's because it's like there will one day be light if you just keep working towards it. and it's not
Yeah,
going to happen overnight. But when our long night is done, there will be light. Instead of being
yeah.
like, you will be found. We're not going to tell you how.
Even when the dark comes crashing
Even when the
through.
dark comes crashing
When
through,
you need a friend to carry
carry
you.
you. Except for none of them are friends anymore by the end of the show.
Yeah.
None of them talk. There's
There's
no.
also this thing of like Evan is fine by the end of it. He actually gets better. Like he kind of grows into himself and he figures out what he was doing before was shit, shock horror.
Figure out he's
And
trying to
he
get
goes
back.
and talks to Zoe.
Yeah, and he apologizes.
And it's even I'm getting the script up because I feel like there's a really weird line he says to her, or that she says to him,
Mm.
where it's kind of implied that they might like,
Be friends or like date.
yeah. Oh my God. I was actually just already on the doxing scene, by the way.
It knows you were coming.
You want to hear his like final monologue, by the way?
Please. Haven't heard it in about, I don't know, 5, 6 years.
So he starts his little letter, his final one.
Mm.
Today is going to be a good day, and here's why: because today, no matter what, today at least you're you. No hiding, no lying, just you. And that's enough. Maybe someday, everything that happened, maybe it will all feel like a distant memory. Maybe someday no one will even remember about the Connor project or me. That cannot be a positive thing. No one will remember the Connor project or me. Maybe someday some other kid is going to be standing here, staring out at the trees, feeling so alone, wondering if maybe the world might look different from way all the way up there, better. Maybe he'll start climbing one branch at a time and he'll keep going, even when it seems like he can't find another foothold, even when it feels hopeless, like everything is telling him to let go. This time, maybe this time, he won't let go. He'll just hold on and he'll keep going. He'll keep going until he sees the sun. And then the for forever little bit.
Yeah, and then they end
Oh, by the
on
way,
they end
the
on the song, which is all about how he lied, which is a
yeah.
reprise of the song talking about how he. It's on the show.
By the way, one of the final stage directions for the characters
Mm.
is people slowly begin to look around to see one another, to find one another.
Okay.
I'm trying to find the little bit he says to Zoe.
He's like,
Oh
I'm at
yeah,
community college. Hello. Can I have your brother's college fund?
yeah. Hey, hi, how are you? Good, pretty good. You graduate soon, right? In 2 weeks. Wow, how's being a senior? Busy. I remember that. How's being a freshman? Oh, well, I actually decided to take a year off. Oh, yeah, try to save some money, get a job. I've been taking classes at the community college, so I'll have some credits to transfer in the fall. That's smart. Yeah, we'll see. In the meantime, though, I can get you a friends and family discount at the Pottery Barn if you're looking for
Yeah, I knew he was
overpriced
working
home
somewhere
decor.
like the Pottery Barn.
Not at the moment. Well, if you change your mind, I'm only working there for a few more months though, so the window of opportunity is closing fast. They smile. I always imagine you and Connor here, even though obviously it's my first time. I mean, I've probably driven by it 1,000 times. I just every time I think about getting out of the car, I feel like I don't know. I just like I don't deserve to, I guess. It's nice, peaceful. My parents, they're here all the time. We do picnics like every weekend. It's helped them a lot actually, having this. They never told anyone about Connor, about the note, about who really wrote it. They didn't have to do that. They could have told everyone what I did. Everybody needed it for something. That doesn't mean it was okay. It saved my parents. It's weird. I over the fall I found this yearbook thing my class made in 8th grade. Most people did like collages of their friends. Connor's was a list of his 10 favorite books. I've been trying to read all of them. I know it's not the same thing as knowing him. It's not at all, but I don't know. It's something. It's been hard. It's been a hard year. I know. I've been wanting to call you for a long time. I don't really know what I would say. But then I decided to call anyway. I'm happy you did. I wish we could have met today for the first time. Me too. I should probably, of course, it's just exams this week. No, totally. Can I ask you though, why did you want to meet here? I wanted to be sure you saw this. Finale.
That's such a
It
nothing
like
burger.
seems so deep. Like reading through, I'm like, oh, this is deep. No, it's not.
What does it mean? What does it all mean in the context of the show? And like the implications for what it's trying to say at the end?
I think like with what we are talking about with the to break in a glove metaphor
Mm,
and everything we've kind of discussed,
mm.
I'm gonna yap for a second
Go ahead.
to try and work through these thoughts. I think that fundamentally, Dear Evan Hansen and Next to Normal are quite similar
Oh, 100%. And I've always known that deep within myself.
in that they're both focused on families and how mental health impacts them.
Hmm.
where where I think Next to Normal seems to come from, albeit like a bit misguided and like kind of warped, a place of like being genuine.
But I mean, Next to Normal does come from a very a very medical model of disability of ECT and that kind of being the focus. ECT is still a real thing that happens. When I went with my dad, the first thing he said to me afterwards, in the interval, was, "Does that still really happen? Is ECT still a thing?" And I went, "Yes."
Yeah.
And it is still found to this day that women are more likely to have ECT than anyone else, and no one really knows why.
Yeah. It feels like it is a kind of genuine discussion of how mental health impacts the family.
Mm.
And part of that is just how like Diana's actions, because of her mental health issues, impact the other people, as well as like a genetic thing. Of we see like Natalie being seemingly like predisposed, like
And hyper
genetically,
aware of it.
yeah. She seems like I think she even says this in one of her songs.
She's like, at the end, "Hey, free" to Henry. She's like, "I could end up your wife sitting staring at walls, throwing shit down the stairs, bleeding out in the bathtub."
Yeah.
And then he kisses
I
her.
just have some memory of her saying like, I could end up exactly like my mother, like she is my mother.
Yeah, and there's also that thing that
Genetically, I could be
like
just like her.
Diana says to uh Dr. Fine or Dr. Madden, um my mother used to say I was spirited, but you should meet her.
Yeah, like this thing of Diana, I don't know if she outright says, but she very heavily implies that her mother was very similar in like
Yeah,
her mental health issues.
yeah, it is implied that there is very much so a genetic, which we also know to be true. We know that like
Yeah,
it is like, and as Dr. Fine says, he's like, there is a genetic component, but it's often triggered by something.
yeah. And I think that like I don't know how to put this into words.
Mm.
Okay, let me switch to Dear Evan Hansen because I know I can talk. The issue with how Dear Evan Hansen does this kind of mental health effect on like family
Hmm.
is it seems to be almost written by like parents.
Yes.
Of being like, my son was really depressed, and here's how that impacted us because it meant we couldn't go on our like yearly holiday because
Hmm.
he was in therapy and he couldn't miss it.
Hmm.
Oh, a bitch.
Hmm.
And so this like
Also, like, Next to Normal doesn't really try and give a solution as to what is the solution to family generational trauma. It's just kind of like, here's the story, you know?
yeah
Do what you want. Whereas Dear Hansen tries to come to the conclusion of, "You will be found." And it's like, okay,
yeah
sure.
it seems to suggest that ultimately you will be like fixed when you have a community.
Yes. Yeah.
Like it doesn't suggest like medical treatment. It doesn't suggest like taking time for yourself and figuring yourself out.
Yeah.
It kind of suggests like finding others,
Mm.
which is fair. Like in of itself, that's a fair conclusion to draw. It comes at the end of such a weird story that doesn't
Yeah.
really lend itself to that conclusion.
Yeah. And the other thing with Dear Evan Hansen is it's tied itself so permanently to when it premiered in 2017
Yeah.
for its use of technology and through the use of, I mean, even doxing. I know doxing still happens, but it doesn't feel like something that's as talked about now.
It doesn't feel like it's this big scary thing anymore. Like ultimately I understand it is.
Yes, doxing
But
is illegal.
yeah, don't dox people,
Don't
kids.
dox people, kids. Not even the Murphy family.
But it like acting like it's this shocking thing happening, like, oh my God, they found their address online and their phone numbers, and now they're sending them texts telling them to kill themselves like their son did.
And they're like, the police
It's
don't know
like,
what to
yeah,
do
fucking
about
of
it.
course they did. Evan went up there and told everyone how shit parents they were
Yeah, and it's like the police don't know
after
what to do
spending
about it.
months
It's also
like
like it's also like the police are probably a bit more prepared to deal with something like
Yeah, the
this.
police now will be like, all right, we'll trace where the messages came from and go to their house as
Yeah.
well.
You know, you can put
Like,
them back.
there's also this idea of him being like, oh yeah, the Murphys didn't tell anyone that I lied about Evan.
Mm.
That ruined their lives.
Hmm.
Like, if they never told anyone that was fake, then does everyone still just believe that these parents were responsible for their kid killing himself?
Or could you raise an interesting question of issue of the week on the internet? Of every so often the internet gets really focused on one thing. They go after it, they attack all these vitriol towards one thing and one thing without knowing the full story. And this isn't me
Yeah,
being like a right winger, cancel culture's killing us all. You know what I mean.
yeah,
Um, and then moving on and not saying anything and kind of forgetting and letting people fade into obscurity.
yeah.
Again, but they don't do anything with that. They're just like, my family get doxxed.
Anyways, I think this is a thing where I can like see how Next to Normal is a fully complete musical, where I think there's things that could be expanded on. It's more just because like I like this and I think you could talk more about it. And also
Yeah,
because ultimately it is like a musical, so obviously things could change and be better.
yeah.
But the thing with Dear Evan Hansen is it just almost feels unfinished.
Yeah, it does kind of sound like they need another pass at it to like work out some of
Yeah,
the
like it
issues.
just feels like it
Which
gets
is
halfway there, then there's a finale.
which is crazy considering the fact that like it had a run in DC, it had a run off Broadway, and then it had a preview period on Broadway.
Yeah, like it feels like it should be finished and it just isn't.
Like that's the one thing I will say, like the text of Next to Normal is solid because it was worked on for 15 years before it got to that stage. And even
Yeah,
like between off Broadway, DC, Broadway, it changed a lot. Like even like Hades, like something like Hades, I went to where like that's was so
yeah.
musical, like changed a lot.
Whereas I feel like Dear Evan Hansen's success is in part just because they were like, oh, this is about mental health. That's kind of an up and coming issue. We love Dear Evan Hansen. Dear Evan Hansen is the most important show.
Yeah,
And that's why I think it did like pretty well at the Tonys and such.
I I just think like Dear Evan Hansen was right place, right time.
Yeah.
Like Dear Evan Hansen premieres today, we're all sat around going, what the fuck was that about?
Yeah.
And like I feel like we were ready to have these conversations of the culture. And Dear Evan Hansen was like, we're here to help you have those conversations. It's like, yeah, are you? Are you?
I
Really?
think the biggest thing is like Dear Evan Hansen is a very comfortable show. Like I
Yes.
think no one is leaving there feeling challenged.
Hmm.
Whereas I think Next to Normal fundamentally like
You are challenged.
it's like I can play the entire. My dad loves Dear Evan Hansen.
Hmm.
He loves to listen to it.
Mm.
I just like, it doesn't mean anything, does it? Like,
No.
ultimately, we're both listening to it, we're both taking different things from it, and it's not going to spark any conversations. Like,
No.
I introduced him to Dear Evan Hansen, being like, I really relate to this musical because I was 14 and cringe.
Yeah.
Um, and he was like, okay, and nothing ever came of it. Whereas I think if I said, I really relate to Next to Normal, I'd be back in therapy in a week.
I think like taking my dad to see Next Normal was actually really interesting because like he was like, I can't believe they still do the ECT, and I was like, yeah, they do, and like all of this other stuff. Also, this is so random. But in Next to Normal, the date of the dance is March 3rd.
Hmm.
Henry goes, it's some spring formal thing, it's March 1st. And like Natalie's like, I'm too busy popping pills to go. And so every March 3rd, everyone's like, Happy Next to Normal Day. And I'm like, guys, this is psychotic.
You're insane.
March 3rd is canonically like in Universal Next to Normal, canonically March 3rd is the date where Nat Diana leaves the family. And Dan starts to confront his grief for his father, and Natalie becomes the caregiver for the household, which I'm obsessed with the depiction of caregivers and mental health because it's such a specific role.
Yeah.
Again, my
But
uncle.
we must move on quickly.
Also, the other thing I was gonna say is it's another every March Fair people just start posting. It's like because March Fair is also referenced in one of the saddest Lana Del Rey songs. It's like uh Saved by the Fire by by the 3rd of March, I was cracked open and everyone posted about it like, Happy March Madness. Like, stop!
I think genuinely, if you had gone to see Next Normal and Natalie had come out in like a Lana Del Rey shirt, you would have died.
I would have killed myself.
Like that would have been it.
I would have been like, right, this has been fun.
Like, right, I'm leaving.
Great.
We're done.
She comes out. She comes out in that Urban Outfitters non fucking Rockwell top that me and my friend spend a while trying to look for on Vinted.
She's like, we're done.
We're done. I'm done. This isn't fun. This isn't fun anymore.
This isn't fucking funny.
I mean, my reaction when they cast one of the original Matildas as Natalie, I was like, right, so they want to kill me.
Oh, one of the original Matildas as Natalie in a like Lana Del Rey shirt.
I'd kill myself.
A, like Kanken backpack. It would have been over.
Bro. I would have been like, right, where's a gun? Anyone got one? Someone bring me a gun. Like, it would have been over. It would have been so Jova for me. Like,
it's never over. My Kingdom for a Kiss Upon Her Shoulder.
We're not talking about Jeff Buckley right now. Stop making Jeff Buckley and Next to Normal edits. I can't handle it.
It's never over.
I've seen 2.
To what songs?
I didn't recognize that one, but I was like, that's definitely Jeff.
What was the lyric?
It was about like mother, which I know he sings about a lot.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't really matter.
Send it to me.
I didn't save it. I was like, no. I was like, no. But I sent you the Love You Should Come Over Natalie one.
Yes.
And then also I sent you, so sorry to hear your brother died. 5 big boobs. Someone remade it because it got taken down the first time.
We have got a whole other episode to record.
We do. We have basically this is technically a part next week it's technically a part of our Pride Month. Do we really want to talk about 2017 Tonys?
They sucked.
Because we have now seen like every single show that was up for Best Musical.
I'm pulling up the Wikipedia page for the 2017 Tony Awards.
Do.
So I can do this properly.
Do it properly.
The 71st Tony Awards. Oh my god, this was the Amelie year as well. That's crazy.
Yeah, Amelie.
Sunset Boulevard was up this year.
It was for Glenn Close, but Glenn Close wasn't because she already won a Tony and she was doing it again. And also, I'm going to talk about it in a minute.
Okay. Original musicals that were up. God, I forget how fucking ridiculous this year was. Amelie, Anastasia, Bandstand, A Bronx Tale, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Come From Away, Dear Evan Hansen, Groundhog Day, Holiday Inn, In Transit, Great Comet, Paramore, and Warpaint. Musical revivals, Hats, Falsettos, Hello Dolly, Miss Saigon, Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah.
What a year.
Crazy times. So having seen what some could argue to be the big 4 or big 5, I can't actually remember off the top of my head how many there were. Dear Evan Hansen, Come From Away, Great Comet. Big 4. We've seen them. Own 2 Eyes. Great Comet was a different production, so we can't fully judge, but I can fully judge and say Great Comet was robbed.
Dear Evan Hansen wins Best Musical. Awful.
My villain origin story.
Hello Dolly wins Best Revival.
Yeah, people love that production of Hello Dolly. They loved it. And it's many people's villain origin story because they believe Falsetto should have won.
Actor in a Musical went to Ben Platt as Evan Hansen.
Okay, my piece on that is Andy Carl robbed.
Andy Carl robbed, Josh Groban robbed, Christian Borle robbed.
My thing with the role of Pierre is it is kind of a weird role.
Yeah.
And not very big.
Well, clearly the Oliviers don't count it.
The Oliviers don't count it
as
a leading actor, which I think he's leading. I just don't think he's like as big of big of an arc or a role as Natasha.
Yeah. Yeah. Best Actress in a Musical went to Bette Midler, which makes sense.
Makes sense.
For Dolly and Hello Dolly.
Yeah.
But considering it was between Bette Midler, Danae Benton, Christine Ebersole, Patti LuPone, and Eva Noblezada.
See, if I were Queen of the Universe, either Eva Noblezada or Danae Benton would have won it.
Yeah.
I think I don't think we talk about, obviously we talk about how impressive a role Kim is, and that's like why I think um she should have probably gotten it. But also like I don't feel like we appreciate the role of Natasha enough,
Yeah,
and like how insane that is. I think about
it's
To Me the
an
Dawn from May as
insane
Natasha
role.
like
All the
probably once
time.
a week.
All the time. Okay, best featured actor in a musical, Gavin Creel in Hello
Oh,
Dolly.
Gavin Creel. I have to agree. I love Gavin. I love.
Yeah, the other nominees were Mike Feist, Andrew Reynolds, Lucas
Okay,
Steele, and Brandon Aronowitz.
that's the other thing that I find so interesting. When Mike Feist kind of took off with Challenges, I love Challenges. It's an amazing movie. People were like, "Oh my God, he's a newsie. He's a fake ex-newsie." They weren't like ex Dear Evan
You're
Hansen.
missing a thing.
They
You're
weren't.
missing a more important
They weren't
thing.
like ex Dear Evan Hansen cast member. They were like ex-newsie, and I was like, "This is hilarious." I think I even tweeted first newsie at the Met Gala because Ben Platt had already been, so I could be like first Dear Evan Hansen cast member at the Met Gala.
Yeah, I I would say I if we'll say our piece on is Pierre the leading actor in uh Great Comet,
I think
which
he
you
is
can
the
have your
lead.
opinion.
I just don't think
Yeah,
when you're up against a role like Andy Carl in Groundhog Day,
yeah.
I don't think he's an immediate front runner.
And especially in these Tonys when they put Anatole as featured, makes sense that
Anatole
Pierre is
is
therefore the lead.
featured
Yeah.
at Olivier Awards.
Yeah. Is Connor Murphy?
Conor Murphy's not a big enough role, in my opinion.
I don't think so. I think you would rather put up like Michael Park
Yeah, Mike, he has a song
or Will
and a dog
Roland.
scene.
Let's put up Will Roland, a featured actor.
Featured acts.
Um,
I remember there being. Oh, people also wanted Oh my God, the little boy. I can't remember his name now.
what?
The falsettos. Jason.
Oh yeah, Anthony.
That's it.
I forget his last name. Um, best featured actress in a musical went to Rachel Bay Jones for Heidi Hansen.
I do have to admit
I
she does
can't
have.
even
She
fault them
has
on
some of
this
the
one.
best material in the show.
She has like the best songs in the show. In fairness, her other nominees were Kate Baldwin, Stephanie J. Block, Jen Colella, and Mary Beth Peele.
Mm,
So a stacked category.
yeah.
Now after here, everything starts to fall apart.
See, I don't understand how it won score.
I don't understand how it won best.
That book made no sense.
Listen, here's the thing. Everything we have said today is that the book is bad. The score has its moments.
Mm.
Sometimes I'm listening to it and I'm like, fuck, this goes hard. This is a great song.
Mhm.
Requiem is an incredible song.
Yeah.
I don't understand how it won book.
Yeah.
It was up against Great Comet, Groundhog Day, and Come From Away. You're gonna give it book over Come From Away?
Not like the way that the comet is constructed is so mind-blowing, and same with Come From Away. Like they are such hard stories to make people understand as easily as
Yeah.
they do. That it's like
Even like Groundhog Day
funny
is
ass.
better than Dear Evan Hansen.
Funny
And
ass.
I love Groundhog Day.
Bring it back.
Bring it back. Best original score
Andy Carl, you're not
went
up
to
much,
Dear Evan Hansen.
that pissed me off.
And it was the same four nominees. It was Great Comet, Groundhog Day, Come From Away, and Dear Evan Hansen.
Dave
I
snubbed.
don't get this.
Dave snubbed.
Dave snub, him snub. I think Come From Away.
I like Come From Away, really.
I love the Come From Away soundtrack. I don't think it's doing anything like special.
I think
it works perfectly
as
for what
a
it is.
whole.
Like it's yeah. I think it's borderline a like perfect soundtrack for the show.
As a like I understand the director win. I mean, in my mind, it should be Chavkin,
Yeah.
but
Scenic design of a musical. Thank you, Great Comet.
Great Comet.
And thank you, no nomination for Dear Evan Hansen because it doesn't have a set. It has a bed.
Like, if we aren't going to nominate, I'd say Sunset Boulevard has a bit more of a set.
Yeah.
Like, more of a vibe.
Costume design went to Hello Dolly. That makes sense. But Anastasia and Great Comet were also up, and I love their costumes.
You feel very passionately about
Yeah.
those shows.
Lighting design of a musical, a really personal category for me.
Yeah, you can't talk about this year's lighting race because there's been a snub.
There has been a snub this year's Tonys, and it's in the lighting design category. It went to Great Comet,
Again, for
which,
festival.
and I'll say, do you know what? I wouldn't have minded if Dear Evan Hansen had gotten lighting. Like, they do kind of do a lot with lighting.
Yeah,
Like, I couldn't even fault them for it.
yeah.
But direction went to Come From Away. That makes sense.
Mm.
Like, should it have gone to Rachel Chavkin? Should it have gone to Matthew Walker? Yes,
But at least it wasn't
but it went to
Evan
Come From Away, which
Hansen.
makes sense.
Also, Come From Away is really hard to put together. I'd say it's probably like it is comparable to what Chavkin did with Comet.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I just want to say perhaps the biggest win of the night coming up next. Best choreography went to Bandstand. Uh, Biggest win of the night. So deserved.
Yeah.
I love Bandstand.
Mm.
Um, I could see it of going to like Come From Away, depending on what you class as choreography,
Mm.
because they do a lot of. Oh, my drama teacher would be pissed off at me, but I've forgotten the word or like the term.
What are you trying to explain?
Like rapid assembly group,
Yes, physical fit.
physical theatre. They do a lot of that in Come From Away.
Mm.
Which I quite like. And
Oh
like
my
if you
God.
class that as choreography, then that's
Sorry,
fair.
I just remembered how like I was looking at the letterbox reviews for Next to Normal, and someone just went, "Why was this released on Mother's Day weekend?"
Yeah, that's hilarious.
PBS got jokes, man.
They're hilarious.
Sorry, I felt like that had to be shared.
Yeah. Anyways, this next one is possibly, I would say, like the worst thing to happen the 71st Tony Awards.
I think there's a lot of bad things that happens, but yeah.
I would say this one is the worst because best orchestrations went to Dear Evan Hansen.
Well, that pisses me
But
off.
the other nominees, Hello Dolly,
Mm.
Great Comet, and Bandstand,
Mm.
I would say all three of those deserve it more than Dear Evan Hansen.
Yeah.
The orchestrations of Dear Evan Hansen, guys, get Jack Antonoff in a studio and he will make them in 5 minutes.
Jack Antonoff could do it with his eyes closed, backwards, whilst remixing a banger Taylor Swift song.
And here's the thing. I think that this does mean that the Dear Evan Hansen orchestrations are quite good. I love Jack Antonoff's work, and I think he could make the Dear Evan Hansen orchestrations better.
Jack. Seems like you've got some free time coming up. I'm
Yeah.
kind of worried about Jack Antonoff's employment level. That's like a thing that I'm talking about in my personal life. But Jack, if you want to get yourself back into a studio and write a bit of musical theatre music, I wouldn't be opposed. I would be sad. I'd be so sad for the Jack Antonoff musical. I just really love
I'm gonna write a musical which is gonna be called The Connor Project,
Good
and
job.
it's going to technically not be Dear Evan Hansen,
Yeah.
but it is, and it's going to be about the Murphys.
Mm, hmm
Or I'm just going to call it like Requiem,
Mm.
and it's technically going to have nothing to do with Dear Evan Hansen,
Mhm.
but it's about the Murphy family.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be bringing Jack Antonoff on board to do the orchestrations.
Yeah. As you should.
And Ben Platt will be reprising his role.
Amazing. Amazing.
It's high time Ben Platt got to play an actual villain.
Guys, I think he'd be so good at it.
I think he really would, and I need him to do it.
And I feel like he would bring a certain level of camp to a villain.
Oh, exactly.
That'd be really good. Like, we need to get Ben Platt in the most comically villainous character. I'm talking like Disney princess levels of villains.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking like Ursula levels of villain.
Yeah.
And we'd all be better for it as a society.
And I think my new musical Requiem is the place for him to do this.
Yeah.
he will be playing a teenager. I don't care how old he is.
He's ageless.
And I think this will be really important because he is undoubtedly going to use the excuse of how young he is and that he didn't know any better. And I think that line will be more hard hitting when he's played by like a 40-year-old man. Next week is the start of Pride Month.
The gays love Sunset Boulevard. So I hear.
That's what we're doing.
Well, that's what we're doing. As our new favourite Twitter account, Tom Francis Updates, say.
The gays love Norma Desmond and the lesbians love Tom Francis. And so to bring it all together. And the bisexual people love Jamie Lloyd.
Yeah. I can't argue with that. Yeah.
So we're doing Sunset Boulevard.
We're doing Sunset Boulevard. Gay men for years have been obsessed with Norma Desmond.
Why do you think Andrew Lloyd Webber wrote the damn musical?
Yes. He's arguably one of the straightest men in theatre.
I think he's gay.
Okay, that's all right.
I don't think a straight man could have that much beef with Patti LuPone. But a gay man.
A gay man respects Patty too much.
No, but only a gay man could like fight her like that.
Here's the thing, it was like we're gonna talk about it in like 2 minutes, but there was a period where he was just beefing with like old school divas, and I was like, Jesus Christ, Andy.
And is that not a gay thing to do?
But it seemed like it drained the life out of him. Where I feel like a certain type of gay man would get life from
because he
it.
spent like 80 years pretending to be straight.
Anyway, so for next week for Pride Month, we're gonna be talking about Sunset Boulevard.
Sunset Boulevard.
It was nominated for those awards.
Yeah, it has a LGBTQ perspective.
That perspective is divas being murderous. Death Becomes should have gotten some noms for that award then.
It's an LGBTQ perspective and then an LGBTQ person directed it.
Yeah.
I'm making assumptions on Jamie Lloyd's sexuality.
I think he's bisexual.
I'm pretty sure he's bisexual.
He's bisexual. I'm like 90% sure. Tom Francis Updates account said that he is.
Well, I trust them with my life.
And they're not like Tom Francis Updates account is not like a serious Tom Francis Updates account. They make it very clear. They're just very funny.
They did an edit of his vape.
They did an edit of his vape, and so they're a hero to us. Come on the podcast, Tom Francis Updates.
Please.
We'll have your Tony reaction because they've already said that they're gonna crash out so hard if Darren Criss wins.
That's incredible.
That's what I'm staying up for on Tony night. Tom Francis Update live tweeting.
I'm just gonna follow this account. Like
So
they come up enough that I just need to follow them.
I just want to know. I just want to. Anyway, let's talk about great Hodgett Youngers, which is I don't think something we talk about enough.
Yeah.
Anyway. Speak to you guys next week for Pride Month. We're doing Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah.
Bye! Thoughts on TikTok?